Good morning. Today is the feast of St. Catherine of Alexandria, again an early church virgin and martyr. Her father was involved in the Roman government, and after a vision of the Blessed Mother, she converted to Christianity, and she was a very wise and learned person. And so during one of the emperor's persecutions of Christians, she was called forward, and she wasn't called forward. She went to the emperor, and she rebuked him for how harsh he was treating and persecuting Christians, and she was hoping to convert him. And he was a little bit impressed with her knowledge, so he summoned about 50 of his best scholars, all pagans, of course, and tried to have them refute her. Many of them, they were all unable to refute her. Many of them were so taken aback by her that they actually converted themselves. So she was thrown in prison, and as people came to visit her, they converted as well. Story as old as time. We see that all throughout different persecutions. When someone's thrown in jail for their faith and the people come to them. I think of the cardinal in Vietnam when he was in prison, and the guards would come and they kept changing the guards because he kept converting them. Anyway, finally, the emperor got so mad that he said, "We're going to break her on the wheel." So they got the big spiky wheel out and went to, strap her onto the wheel so they could crush her with it. And as soon as she touched the wheel, it shattered. And so the emperor was so angry, he decided that he would just have her beheaded. And so the executioner was terrified what was going to happen. She gave her consent. She said, "Go ahead, just get it over with." And so the executioner struck her and beheaded her. And rather than blood, there flowed this kind of milk-like substance. And so it's just another one of these examples of beautiful trust in God. Trust in God that He will not allow harm to touch us. Trust in God that in doing His will, yes, it means to suffer. Yes, it means to lay down our life. Yes, it does mean to die, but that's not the end. And in suffering, there is hope. And we know that God, we know that Jesus Christ, we know that our King, whom we are subject to, will not allow harm to touch us. In relation to the gospel, right, we had this a few weeks ago on Sunday, but we have this widow putting in all that she has monetarily. I think we can say the same of martyrdom, is pouring out our lives, right? It's giving all that we have, trusting in God, trusting that He will provide for us, trusting that He will care for us, trusting that He will lead us. To have that level of trust is a great leap of faith. When the kids go on their retreats, sometimes they do the trust fall, where they stand up on a little platform and the other kids are behind them with their arms out, and you've got to fall backwards and let these little teenagers catch you. When I go, they're like, "Father, you want to do it?" "No, I don't. I might trust God, but I don't trust a bunch of dumb teenagers. Sorry." Besides, I don't know what your parents have paid you. Whether fall and break my neck. But it's a beautiful example of that radical trust. That even in falling, right, we're completely out. We have no control. But that God has us. And then in the end, we see that in Revelation, where God has prepared this place for us, where He appears, where He is worshipped and honored and adored. And there's the hymn being sung, and it says, "No one could learn this hymn except the 144,000. Now, don't read that literally and think there's only 144,000 people in heaven, because then what's the point of what we're doing here? It's probably already full. But if we look at the 12 tribes of Israel, right, and the 12 apostles. The number 12 is important in Scripture, so Scripture just likes to multiply important numbers, so we have 144, and then let's tack 3 more zeros on the end to make it an even more impressive number. Meaning, heaven is full of those who follow God, but only they know the hymn. Only they know the secret handshake. Only they know the password. And it's not a secret password that we can only figure out by a series of investigations and kind of tricks, but rather it's a secret password that we know simply through being baptized, through being made members of Christ. And in being baptized, we die to self. We die with Christ so that we can rise with him in a metaphorical way, in a spiritual way, but then also in our own death, we will share in the death of Christ so that we may share in his resurrection. So let us ask through the intercession of Saint Catherine of Alexandria that indeed we may be able to hold fast and do the will of God.